Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. Delta Force is out for a week now, and even though the launch itself went pretty well and overall the game is fun to play, there are quite a few things that definitely need to be improved over time, because they're getting more and more annoying. But I want to start with a point that I think was a bit exaggerated over the last few days, and that's SBMM and the whole discussion around it. You may have seen a lot of content creators talk about it and give their opinion on it, but in the latest Q&A with game director Shadow over on Reddit, the team did address this topic and gave us some more insight. So there is kind of an SBMM in Delta Force that was confirmed, but it's not comparable to the system Call of Duty has, because I think that's what a lot of people have in mind when talking about SBMM. This terrible matchmaking monster that punishes you for having one good game and that tries to hold you around a 1 KD. But on X, Delta Force wrote that they don't utilize a complex SBMM system where players with specific win rates are placed into tiers and matched together. Instead, they roughly categorize players as either new or everyone else. This allows new players some time to familiarize themselves with the game before being placed into the regular pool. And that's also what Shadow confirmed again over on Reddit. Here he wrote, "First and foremost, we want to clarify that in order to protect the experience of new players, we've made a simple distinction between new and experienced players. All experienced players are placed within a large matchmaking pool, and there is no crazy SBMM in place that makes sure everyone is at a 50% win rate. We're doing so because it's important to protect the experience of every new player, because we don't want new players to be overwhelmed when they first get into the game, and we want to give them some time to learn. Secondly, we want to ensure global matchmaking efficiency. We aim to get players into matches as quickly as possible, and we have no implemented 50% win rate SBMM. And third, we want to make sure that all players are not subjected to the pressures of SBMM. We refuse to create high pressure games for top tier players or force a 50% win rate balance." So this sounds like the matches of experienced players are simply made by balancing the teams and putting in a number of average, good and not so good players. So basically just like it is in Battlefield, at least that's what it sounds like. But for new players, they get some kind of puppy protection and only get matched with other new players. But this also means that after a while you will get matched into normal lobbies, and naturally these will feel different from the starter lobbies. So this might be what some players are describing, that they're really good for maybe 2 or 3 hours and then suddenly the lobbies get harder, and this might seem like the game has a heavy SBMM. Now, there were also people reporting long matchmaking times and that they ended up on servers with high ping, which also led them to suspect that there is a strong SBMM. And to this, Delta Force replied that they've seen reports of related long queue times or high ping, but this is likely caused by separate issues. For example, if playing with friends in a different region, the system will pick one of those regions and the other player will probably experience higher than normal ping. And during off-peak times in several regions, the system will always try to provide a low ping experience, but as less players are online, this may result in longer than normal queue times as the system tries to place you in a nearby server. So these long matchmaking times and ping spikes may be the result of other issues the game has, but not necessarily of SBMM. Now, I know you might be skeptical about this info or that the devs are trying to hide that there is SBMM, but I can only say that from my own experience as an average player with a KD of around 1.5 in all of my games, I did not recognize any long matchmaking times, any ping spikes, or even major differences in the lobbies I've played. Even if I go out of the game with a higher KD, I don't feel like I get punished in the next match, so not like Call of Duty. And if they wouldn't have brought this up and it would have caused such a massive backlash on socials, I wouldn't have even guessed that there is SBMM in this game. It just doesn't feel like Call of Duty at all to me. But feel free to tell me in the comments below how your experience is, because I'm always curious to read your side of things as well. However, one question that still comes in mind when there is no strict SBMM in the game like they said is, why do we have an option for ranked and unranked? And we got an answer for this as well in yesterday's Q&A, as Shadow wrote that this was a localization error that they weren't aware of until now. There are no ranked games in Delta Force. The correct name would be something like points mode, which is an achievement system but not a ranked mode. They will update the translation as soon as possible. Therefore, matchmaking in points mode will not play out like ranked games, especially the matchmaking aspect. Their design intent is to ensure that 64 real players are found as quickly as possible with the best ping. Whether or not points mode or ranked is selected, players will enter the same matchmaking queue to ensure efficient game starts for everyone. So that's what I had already suspected. There is no difference in matchmaking or in the lobbies you get between ranked and unranked. Why there is still an option, I have no idea, because that option simply doesn't make any sense. If it's really only about the rewards you can unlock, why even have it as an option? I don't know. And as opposed to ranked modes in other games like Call of Duty or Apex, you can also not lose points in Delta Force when you have rank selected. So it's not even an actual ranked mode anyhow. But like they said, it's something they're working on. Nevertheless, there are also other issues the game has, and for me the first one is the missing map rotation, at least in Warfare mode. It's actually the same problem that Battlefield 2042 is suffering from. You can play for 3 hours and play the same 2 maps over and over again, even though the game has more to offer. In Battlefield 2042, they never really found a solution for this, and it's a problem even 3 years after release, but maybe the Delta Force devs can find a better way here. I also think that the map design still could be improved, especially for certain map and mode combinations, like AD mode on Shafted for example, or King of the Hill on Ascension. These maps just don't really feel right for these modes, maybe because they don't have the right design for them, or they have a lack of design in general. I can't really pin it down here, but the maps in general seem to differ a lot in their quality, and I feel like the maps that are actually the best are the ones they remade from the original Black Hawk Down game, like Cracked and Trench Lines, and the ones they made from scratch, like Ascension or Shafted, still need a bit of fine-tuning. Same goes for the operators, they also lack some balance, because I feel like some operators like Luna, Stinger or D-Wolf are actually more useful than others and have stronger abilities, while some other operators like Viron or Heckclaw are not as useful or actually feel weaker compared to the aforementioned ones. Additionally, the gadgets and abilities of these stronger operators can cause a massive spam in choke points, maybe also because they're played more, and sometimes you're wondering when they will finally run out of stuff to throw. There's explosives, there's smoke, there's spotting arrows, firefly swarms, all left and right, and this really feels unnecessary and simply too much. Additionally, the breathing sounds that the operators make when downed are terrible, especially for that new operator Toxic, up to the point where I simply skip the revive so I won't have to listen to that sound for the next few seconds. And when talking about the kill and death experience, I also feel like the hit rate is off sometimes, especially when there's a lot happening in one spot. So when there is this massive spam of explosives and operator abilities, it feels like my bullets disappear more often, and more often I die in just one frame. So this difference between the time to kill and time to die that every game has is huge in Delta Force. Probably the biggest difference I've ever seen in an FPS game, at least the ones that I played. And what I also found was that the delay until the automatic healing starts and the speed of that healing is too long for the fast time to kill that the game has. I feel like this should be much faster, but maybe it's just me. In addition to this, some smaller points that I recognized when playing: the vehicle controls are still terrible, especially for helicopters. Then we still have this cluttered UI during a match and also in the start screen. During a match there is far too much information on the screen for my liking, and there are no options in the settings to reduce or adjust this. And in the start screen you still need 1,000 clicks to find your way around and collect rewards and so on. And in the end screen that pops up after each match, you need to tap the spacebar several times to make your way through it. I also find that the many different currencies and tokens that you can earn and collect are quite confusing, but maybe this is more of a problem on my side. What I'm also missing in the game right now is the ability to pick up a dead soldier's weapon to either change my playstyle or because I ran out of ammo. A squad leader role would also be great to add more structure to the team play, and a squad management system, or at least the option to join another squad. But since the game is actually only in early access, I still hope we see some improvements here. And that leads me to the last point, because I still think they should have not removed the early access from the Steam release. Originally the game was supposed to launch into Steam early access, which normally gives players the hint that the game is work in progress and that it's not finished yet and that they should expect bugs and issues. But for some reason this official early access was removed and the game launched like a finished product. And it's also what it looks like when people open the Steam Steam page, and the expectations of potential players are surely different when they don't see the early access sign somewhere, because what they expect is a product that is more polished than it is right now. I just think that it would have helped the game to be better received, but the decision that was made by the devs was a different one apparently. Nevertheless, I do enjoy playing Delta Force. It nicely fills the void that Battlefield 2042 has left after the end of its live service, and I think in general the launch went pretty well. There were no massive issues or game-breaking bugs, and the issue with the anti-cheat software not uninstalling itself when uninstalling the game was quickly resolved. What I do like in the game, besides the overall more gritty feel, good gunplay and great weapon customization, is that the grind is fair for a free-to-play game and the progression is actually surprisingly fast, that you don't even need to unlock vehicles or gadgets. They're all unlocked right from the start, and only a few operators and most of the weapons need to be unlocked, but that's not taking too long either. And for the weapon cosmetics, I do really appreciate they apply to any attachment you put on the weapon, and you don't have to use a specific set of attachments to take full advantage of the skins. Because in Battlefield 2042 and I think also in Call of Duty, you only get the full look when you use a specific set of attachments, which is always a bit annoying because I mean you have spent money for it. But I think that was enough for today. The video is very long already, and that's just my impression after the first week of playing. But again, let me know in the comments below what your opinion about the game or specific features or issues is so far, and if you enjoyed the video and want to see more of this, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. I'm the Catwoman and you are awesome.